Come on in, please.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good to see you. Please take a seat.
Thank you, sir.
Briefly introduce yourself, Mr. Ganeshan.
So my name is Harishankar Ganesan. I've been born and brought up in Delhi. My roots trace back to Tamil Nadu, sir. My parents are from Tamil Nadu. And I've done my BCom honors graduation from Sri Ram College of Commerce, post which I worked for 2 years as a business analyst at McKinsey and Company and 2 years as an investment associate at a private equity firm called Warburg Pincus. So post then I got the opportunity to serve for 1 year as a probationer at Danix. Currently I'm undergoing training as an IDAS probationer officer trainee at AJNIFM Faridabad. In my free time, I like to caricature, sir.
Wonderful. So tell me, why have you, according to me, made a caricature of your career by switching from a 3 lakh rupee per month salary to something which is comparatively a pittance?
So I feel that definitely money is a cost that I've had to pay for the other aspects that I find in the job that I aspire to. Primarily, that's because of two things. I'm at core, I find that I am someone who's ambitious, and I am looking forward to the complex challenges in the service, which will shape me as a person. And secondly, so the leadership opportunity that civil services offers. Something at this stage of career I find will shape my personality. So, sir, definitely money is something that I've had to pay for this.
Let me just embellish your answer and consider, if you think it is honest, then include it in your answer whenever you appear before the board. That before you started appearing for the civil services, which is a time consuming and somewhat iffy effort, you wanted to be financially a little more secure. So you have your savings, now you can bindas, okay, you can appear for as long. Okay.
Certainly, sir. Yeah.
Carry on, sir.
So you joined Danix, then IDS. So Danix was very different than as compared to your background. And how long you stayed in Danix?
Sir, I underwent training for 1 year, of which I was under EOL for about 5 months to appear for the exam again.
Okay, then you are in IDS.
Yes.
Training. Okay, so how you lived in Delhi?
Yes, sir.
How do you rate Delhi or Chennai with living standards or social issues?
Sir, in terms of living standards, I would rate Delhi slightly better in terms of the infrastructure availability than as compared to Chennai. However, sir, in terms of some other parameters in terms of living, for instance, air quality, I would say that Chennai fares better. Sir, on the second aspect, which is in terms of the social issues, I find that in Chennai and generally in Tamil Nadu, it rates better as compared to Delhi. For instance, if we talk about gender equality, then Chennai fares better. And in terms of certain other social issues such as healthcare, even there I find that Chennai does slightly better than Delhi.
Okay. You are from commerce and trade and this field. So worked in private also. How do you think we can improve our trade with different countries? On which are the areas where we can have edge?
Sir, India has an edge. We have to play to our strengths. So firstly, I feel that there needs to be more done in the services sector, and we can increase our trade in that aspect. Firstly, by including that as part of mobility agreements with the developed countries and including that in the free trade agreements. So secondly, I feel that the focus in the manufacturing segment has to be more on the labor intensive sectors. I feel that currently we have not upgraded the capital investment in labor intensive sectors such as textiles. Once we do that, we will find a...
This is also we lost like BPO type system to Philippines is taking over from us, better than us they are doing. And in fact, we are trying to have more manufacturing facilities in the country.
Yes, sir.
So don't you think that's better option than going for services?
Sir, Certainly, I feel that we need to increase the manufacturing portion of our trade, which we have been able to. Before the current slowdown, we did achieve more than $400 billion in terms of trade in goods, which was a remarkable achievement. However, I feel that on the services end, India does have the capability to increase it further by investing in the skills in new segments such as artificial intelligence.
Some people think that additional people are there in agriculture field, which is not then required. They should be taken away from there. So, which area you suggest, manufacturing or services, where they should be shifted, and how?
Sir, I find that adjacent increase and absorption can happen in industries, especially in agricultural allied industries, such as food processing. So that would be a natural shift from agriculture. Sir, but in the long run, I feel that as any economy would move gradually towards a service economy, we need to focus at the same time on the educational capabilities in the rural areas to improve the services.
Should we not try for whatever import substitution, especially in semiconductor field or in pharmacy? That is also a wide field. What is your opinion on that?
Sir, in terms of import substitution, I am of the view that, sir, import substitution must happen in nascent industries where without, in case there is a inflow of established developed countries products, then the nascent industry might not get a chance to grow. However, sir, I feel that in the long run, we need to move towards lesser restrictions on import so that the industry can find its footing and compare and compete with the best in the world so as to be able to also improve its exports potential.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Harishankar, you tell me you are now in IDS. Earlier you were in Dhanix. You opted for IDS at that time also, or you did not get it at that time when you got Dhanix?
Sir, I had opted for, I had kept Danix above IDS in terms of the
Otherwise, you
rankings.
have been in that service 1 year before. It would have been possible?
Sir, it might have been possible.
Okay, no issue. You tell me, now your mother is working in AIMS. Recently, how many AIMS have been inaugurated? Very large number of AIMS have come up. Can you tell me where they have come up? Few of them.
Sir, I recall that there is one AIMS which has been established in Madurai. And sir, there has also been an AIMS in Bhubaneswar which has been currently established. Sir,
Near Delhi?
So near Delhi, there is Jhajjar, which has already been established, and it is now a flourishing center, especially for oncology. Sir, these are the few names of AIMS that come to
Do you
mind.
think the quality of treatment is same in most of the AIMS, or it has come down in some of the AIMS is not up to the mark?
Sir, like with any institution, some of the AIMS are in their teething phase, and there are certain challenges with respect to filling of the required number of posts as well as infrastructure. But I feel that, sir, the AIMS Jhajjar is a classic example of how, with the progression of time, an institution will stand up on its field. For instance, sir, recently I was told that, sir, AIMS oncology system, the entire center is now shifting to Jhajjar, which was established much after the AIMS New Delhi was established. So, sir, I feel with the progression of time, we will see much better services offered.
Okay, you have also acted Nukkad Natak on police reforms.
So,
What was their focus on? What type of reforms you have highlighted in that Natak?
sir, in terms of police reforms, firstly, the first aspect that we wanted to bring was the role that the society can play with the police. So there were two aspects that we focused on. First was, sir, community policing and the need for the society to be more aware and be aid to the police services. And the second aspect was, sir, with respect to the independence of police that we need to undertake. So we brought forward the points that the Supreme Court had observed in the Prakash Singh judgment through the play. So, for instance, independence, so minimum tenure, and sir, in terms of the service conditions, an independent system to evaluate that. So some of those aspects we brought forward.
Okay. Recently, it has been observed that in some states we have acting DGPs, not
Yes.
regular one. What do you think? What is the reason for that?
Sir, it has been observed by the Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court, that the practice of appointing acting DGPs is to skirt around the provision that minimum 2 years of term must be provided to the DGP. So some of the political so there has been a political decision in some of the states to have acting DGPs in the period, so that they don't have to give a minimum tenure to the DGP.
So, what is the procedure for appointment of DGPs nowadays?
Sir, so there is the UPSC, which the UPSC has to recommend, sir, a panel, a set of names to the state from which the state can select the DGP.
So, there should not be any problem in that case. If you have a choice of names, out of that anyone can be appointed.
Yes, sir. Sir, I feel it's more of a political decision.
Tell me, what is the status of our election commission?
Sir, the election commission currently is after the resignation of the election commissioner yesterday has now one member who's the chief election commissioner now. And sir, we have seen that the method of appointment in the last year has changed. And with the amendment in the election commission, the act, we have seen that for the Supreme Court mandated formula for who selects the election commission has changed, replacing the CGI with a cabinet minister.
So, what do you think? Single man election commission can handle all the general election around the corner. What message, according to you, it is being sent now? Is it possible for one man to handle the all level?
Is it compulsory to have more than the CEC,
Yes.
more than one person? What does this constitutional scheme provide?
So the constitutional scheme provides for a maximum of 3 election commissioners, but a single member can continue as can hold the elections. Sole member. It's a maximum of 3.
Okay. You tell me, my last question, what are the 3 challenges to Indian economy at the moment?
So the first challenge, which is a structural challenge, is that of the quality of employment which is being provided. While we have seen a reduction in the unemployment rate, we see that there is a high graduate unemployment rate of more than 20%. So first challenge is unemployment. So the second challenge which continues to loom is inflation, which is north of 5% and not in the range of 4% which has been set as a long-term target. So the third major challenge is that of, sir, the fiscal deficit and the public debt. Sir, this leads to high cost of borrowing and poor credit rating for the country. So this is something that the government is focused on to rein in.
What is this K-shaped recovery? K-shape, we say our economy is recovering very fast. What is this K-shape? My last question.
Sir, the K-shaped recovery is post-COVID. It was speculated that there is a high degree of formalization, which is leading to growth of the formal sector and more than the pre-COVID period. But at the same time, the informal sector, such as the MSMEs and the poor sections of the society, are seeing a degrowth, which led to the chasm and higher degree of inequality. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
good afternoon, Harishankar. Have you heard of the term jugaad?
Yes, ma'am.
So, can you tell us how you see it played out in our India? It comes from India, of course, right?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, Jugaad is micro innovation, and it is a form of short-term fix to.
Can I add, in what cases is it a good thing and in what case it's a not good thing? Please continue.
Sir, it is a good thing in certain very critical conditions where we might not have the time or sufficient resources to build a long-term structural solution. For instance, during even the Kargil war or the Siachen war, the Siachen glacier conflict, India's Indian Air Force fitted its helicopters with turbo engines in a manner that we could take the helicopters which were never meant to go to Siachen, and that was the jugaad which helped us to transport our troops and the material to the Siachen. It was a short-term fix, but it is not so beneficial in regions where we need a structural solution. For instance, if we continue to do this kind of jugaad and quick fixes, we might not take structural reforms to fulfill, let's say, the number of fleets that we need in our Air Force. We still have around 31 squadrons as compared to the 41 that we need. And this has been continuing because we always go for the jugaad mechanism. So those are the two flip parts of the same coin.
It should never be a state of mind. It should never be the norm.
Yes.
Yeah. It should be, yeah.
But is this what is going to make us Viksit Bharat? This state of mind of jugaad? What is your view?
Ma'am, I do feel that it has an important aspect. It is a form of Indian innovation which is essential, I feel, with the resource constrained status that we are in currently. For instance, if we are in, if there is a teacher who's teaching in the rural India, it's wishful and it is a good thing in an ideal world that one would have all the resources at hand, but one might do the jugaad of using internet and YouTube to get the best lectures across the world to the students. At the same time, ma'am, I feel that structurally we need to move to a more planned form of innovation where we have systems in place. So in the long run, definitely for the Viksit Bharat of 2047, we need to go for structural changes, and to ensure that we meet the crisis of the day, we need to ensure that the jugaad niti is continuing.
Okay. And we've had success on landing on one side of the moon, right? The southern side, where no one else has been. So is our space journey, ISRO, would you also call that an example of jugaad? I mean, we are resource constrained, and with the very limited resources, we have gotten this far.
Ma'am, certainly there are Indian innovations and areas which structurally, for instance, ma'am, in the Chandrayaan 2 and 3, we used the orbital maneuvers to be able to reach to the moon at a lower cost than NASA had envisaged, because NASA uses much more fuel and fuel capacity to reach Chandrayaan. Now, our mechanism of jugaad works for Chandrayaan. The flip side for it is that we have not yet developed the capability to send the Indians on space because we have used a lower fuel capacity.
But we have plans for that by 2030, I believe. So are we compromising? Quality is one, and safety by using jugaad.
Ma'am, I don't think that we are compromising on quality and safety, because even in areas such as space especially, even when there is jugaad, there is a sufficient buffer, and we take sufficient caution to ensure that it does not lead to failures. For instance, in Chandrayaan 3, we did take buffers after the jugaad also to ensure that we land safely on the moon.
Okay. My last question, if I may, my favorite on gender. You mentioned the difference between the South, Chennai and Delhi, and you mentioned gender inequality is higher here, right? And on social issues. So what do we do? Why can't we be like Chennai at least? Right? It's a big problem in Delhi. Safety, security of women.
I feel that there are two major aspects that we need to focus on. The first aspect is, as a society, we need to move towards gender equality at home. For instance, small things like a girl child's birthday not being celebrated while the brother's birthday being celebrated is what then snowballs in terms of a societal inequality. And ma'am, secondly, there is also an important role of the government to play in this regard. For instance, in Chennai or Tamil Nadu, we have schemes to nudge the people towards more gender equal practices. For instance, there are FDs which are made in the name of the girl child as soon as they are born.
Here also they're doing so much. The government of India is doing so much for women and girls.
Yes.
Well, something to think about. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Harishankar, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, Harishankar, is it Tamil word or any Sanskrit word?
Sir, Hari and Shankar, sir, are Indian words both in Tamil and Sanskrit, and we have the same words.
And Ganeshan?
Sir, Ganesan is a Tamil word. It's normally written as Ganesha here. Its formulate is written as Ganesan in Tamil because, sir, in Tamil we have the un added for all male person.
What is the meaning of the Ganeshan?
Sir, it's Lord Ganesha who's written as Ganesan in Tamil because.
Fine, but what is the meaning?
Sir, it refers to the god, but I'm not aware of the literal meaning.
Ghana plus Isha.
Right.
That is also Sanskrit. So fine. Anyway, so what was your job role?
Sir, at McKinsey & Company, I was a business analyst who worked as a consultant in the planning stage for some companies, in the execution stage for the other companies. For instance, sir, I worked in the implementation phase for a mine, zinc mine in Udaipur.
And then?
At Warburg Pincus, I had a role of making investments and basically being a part of the investment team. Sir, at Danix, I was a probationer, and at IDS, I'm undergoing.
So what was the kind of investments you analyzed?
Sir, we looked primarily at private players. The field that I was working on was primarily pharmaceuticals, and where we evaluated some of the non-listed pharma companies which are booming in India, and where we saw that there was value to back them, and their promoters had some vision.
So what criteria do you generally look at to value a company?
Sir, as a private equity firm, the most important things there are two major areas that we have to look at. First is growth and second is value. So if we believe that there is growth in the valuation that the company can have, and that depends on two factors. One is quantitative factors in terms of whether they have a good revenue growth in the history, whether they are able to manage costs, and finally, what are their investment policies. And on the qualitative side, we interact with the entrepreneur and try to figure out whether they have a good corporate governance, whether they have a good plan in place. So secondly, we then find out whether the value that we are trying to pay is right, because we might have a very good company, but if it's overpriced, then we will not make money.
Okay, so something related to that and your commerce accountancy. So what is this HDFC problem that's going on?
Sir, recently there was the merger of HDFC Bank and HDFC, so the HDFC Limited and HDFC Bank. Sir, because of that, there has been a supposed dilution in the EPS, which the shareholders are expecting. And also shareholders are expecting that the growth might slow down because it's too large a bank. So this has led to a fall in the share price and stagnation.
There is more technical issue, that is the loans to the deposits ratio.
Right.
What was that issue?
Sir, I'm not aware about this. I will have to read up more about it.
That is getting very less. I mean, loans are very high and deposits are very less. But having said this, why do in the process of mergers, acquisitions, constant regulations every week, every month, how did this pop up all of a sudden? Why did it not be alerted in advance?
Sir, for a company like HDFC, which is listed, and sir, if the news of merger was devolved to outsiders or even insiders, it was said that the HDFC Bank merger was worked out only among the top 5 people. So if it was given out, then it would have led to insider trading, and there would have been volatility in the markets. So only once it was finalized, and there was also an in principle approval by the RBI, which was given, that they came out with that news.
That was the only reason?
Sir, post that they have applied to the Competition Commission of India, which also has some bearing. But sir, this primarily was supposed.
The HDFC was also in news because of subprime lending few years back. Is that something to do with this?
Sir, I'm not aware about this.
The basic equation of finance?
Sir, it's debt plus equity equal to assets. Liability plus equity equal to assets.
Assets minus liability, equity, correct?
Yes.
So what is the nature of deposits? Will it, if market grows big, market grows small, will it increase, decrease, or will it be same?
So deposits are in the form of liability for a bank, and
Increase or decrease, or will it be same, however it might be?
sir, it will increase when two banks are merging. The overall deposits.
Now, during risk times,
Yes.
if suppose some 1 lakh rupees amount is in the deposit form, will that liability come down or go up? It will be same?
Pardon, sir, I could not understand.
Liability for a bank, the nature of liability is same.
Yes.
What about assets? Loans are assets.
Yes.
Loans can become riskier, loans can become premium.
Yes.
It will increase value, it will decrease value,
Right.
but not the deposits. So liabilities remain same, assets increase or decrease depending on the market volatility.
Right.
So in that case, that will also have huge impact on loans to deposit ratio.
Right. Right.
Okay, fine. So I think so there are questions related. Can I take a minute time, sir? Yes. So Kashi Tamil Sangamam, what is the Prime Minister has been talking about it?
Sir, we have seen two iterations of the Kashi Tamil Sangamam. It's primarily a uniting celebration of the two. Yes, sir. Sir, the connections include, firstly, sir, Adi Shankaracharya has traveled to both places, and he has. So that is one aspect. Secondly, sir, Subramanyam Bharati had visited Kashi, and he has roots in Tamil Nadu. So that is the second aspect. So thirdly, in terms of place, because there is such important connection, we have Tenkasi, which is southern Kasi in Tamil Nadu. So to celebrate this united culture, and also, sir, there are a lot of Tamilians living in Kashi. So to celebrate this, we have had the Kashi Tamil Sangam.
Okay. So Madurai and Madurai, is there any link something?
Sir, I'm not aware about this.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. You see, when one goes to the southern part of India, Karnataka, Hassan, Halebud, etc., and Tamil Nadu, of course, and in Kerala also, naturally also, how is it that all these temples have for 1,000+ years, every odd temple is 800 years old? So, were the PWD engineers not doing their job properly? How did they survive for such a long time? What was different about those temples' architecture? As against most temples in the north, you don't find them in the original form. That is the first part of the question. The second part is, what change has happened? You see, first part has two totally different aspects. Okay?
Yes.
Why have temples in the North India not survived the way they have in the southern part of India? Secondly, what is the architectural difference why South Indian temples have survived? Political and then architectural.
Yes.
Third part of the question is, what recently has been done for a certain temple in North India, and we hear that it will survive for 1,000 years? Go on.
Sir, the first question, the first aspect, which is the reason for longevity of southern temples, is firstly because the northern temples have seen a lot of looting because of invasions and incursions, such as that of the Somnath temple. So that is the first aspect. Sir, apart from that, secondly, I feel so that's the first major important reason for political regions.
Incursion or
It was relatively less as compared to the northern states, and because we had the seas which were not discovered till a very long period of time, and even after the Portuguese came, the southern states had pacts with them, trade pacts with them, and they did not destroy as many temples as they were in the northern states.
would you see the first Christians and Muslims and so on landed in Kerala? And you have the glorious Guruvayur temple.
Yes.
So, what was it that, in spite of the very first, if I may call them, foreigners arriving in Kerala coast, this kind of a ravaging did not happen?
Sir, I feel that there is a difference between the objectives of the northern invaders versus the southern invaders, the southern travelers. The southern travelers who landed in were primarily oriented towards trade. So they felt that they had more to gain from the society by establishing trade links.
Excellent. Now get on the second part of the question.
Sir, in terms of architecture, sir, while I'm not technically aware, there are a few reasons that I can think of. The first reason I feel is the type of material used. Sir, in southern temples, we see that granite is used a lot, which is water resistant, as compared to sandstone, which is used in the northern temples, which sees erosion over a period of time, especially with monsoons hitting. Sir, the second aspect that I can think of is the architectural design, wherein we have seen that the southern temples have, sir, they do not have a sloping roof. Yes, sir.
And
Sir, they have a Garbhagriha and a Vimana which is not sloping, and it's generally smaller than the Nagara temples we have seen. It's the Gopuram which is much larger. So that leads to the temple being more intact as compared to the northern temples.
excellent. And what now, the 2.5th question, which temple in the north has been designed so that it would withstand 1,000 years, next 1,000 years anyway?
So the Sri Ram temple in Ayodhya has been constructed.
What is the style of architecture there?
So the style of architecture is Nagara architecture.
All right. My second question, again, very loaded. There has been a lot of slave trade out of India.
Yes, sir.
Northern slaves, people who were taken as slaves from North India, mostly women, and slaves taken from Midwest India, right? And then you have slaves being taken from Bihar and Eastern UP, who are now going on to become heads of state in various Indo-Pacific and,
Sir.
So distinguish between the three states of this slave trade.
Sir, I would fall short on knowledge about the three different types of slave trade. But if allowed, I can take a guess on this. Sir, in terms of the slave trade which happened in North India, that was primarily with respect to, sir, invaders who wanted to. So there was a demoralizing motive for that, which is that they took the slaves to show that the society in the northern states did not have the power. So that was the primary motive. Subjugation was the motive. Sir, as compared to,
Mostly they killed the men and took away the women. Let's call it bluntly for what it was. Yeah.
yes, sir. Sir, in terms of slave trade in the other regions, which is in the region of Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, this was more for economic reasons. And we see that they were used in plantations at later stages in the Indo-Pacific, so which also happened with the southern slaves, which went from India to, let's say, Sri Lanka. So, sir, these were the two types of, sir.
That was the British. That was the British doing.
Yes.
And the Portuguese doing was something else. Ex-Goa.
Sir.
What about that?
Sir, I'm unaware about this Portuguese slave trade.
Oh, please, Mozambique
Yes.
and Madagascar. 1/3 of all of Africa was Portuguese speaking. And a lot of the slave trade used to happen. You've been to Goa?
Yes, sir, I have.
You have been to the old secretariat from where the road goes towards Mandvi Bridge this side and Old Goa in that side?
No, sir, I have not.
The lane behind that, you have seen the jetty right on your left where all these casinos are?
No, sir, I have not been there.
That was the point from where slave ships would sail off.
Right, sir.
And behind that lane is the house of, let me not take that name. He was the biggest slave supplier to the Portuguese. And he had an underground cage kind of an arrangement where the slaves were kept. Anyway, so much for the gory topics. Your interview is over. How have you done?
Okay,
All the best.
Yeah.